Have you given multiple tries at adopting a fitness lifestyle, but for some reason you just can't hack it? Today we're going to go over the number one necessity you need to become unstoppable. You ready? Let's do it. Welcome back everybody to another video. This is going to be making video number 5 for me. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Lucky, professional lifestyle fitness coach for men. If this is your first time, welcome. Everybody who's been returning, I appreciate the support and everything from you guys. It means a lot to me. If you have not subscribed, I would highly suggest you do so, since I will be dropping a new video every Saturday at 9 a.m. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about change. Change is scary to a lot of people. Change is something that is inevitable, but everybody has a connotation, a negative connotation to it, because, you know, it's uncomfortable. We're going into the unknown, and people have a lot of fears about the unknown. But change is where growth happens. So why do a lot of people embark on their fitness journeys but end up quitting? In fact, a lot of people give it a good effort, and they might even get some results short term, but ultimately a large percentage of people quit. Why is this? So whenever you are changing yourself, the first initial change that must take place before the physical will always be the change that occurs mentally. I remember 13 years ago when I was 50 pounds overweight, I was drinking every day, and I just was living the most terrible lifestyle possible, like a complete 180 from where I am today. So I remember there was one specific event that triggered me to kind of snap into a different mindset. And I feel like that was the changing period for me, that kind of snowballed and built up that momentum and just kept me going along my journey to becoming, you know, a fitness lifestyle coach, and ultimately just changing my life as well. So for me, this particular event, and I feel like everybody who makes a lasting change to themselves has to have some type of trigger, some type of stimulus to say, okay, enough is enough. I'm not dealing with this anymore. This is unacceptable. And that's what happened with me personally. So I used to have people tell me all the time, you know, because I had gained weight a lot, they'd be like, oh man, you eating good, or like they tell me in a soft way that I'm overweight, basically. So it wasn't until one day I had stepped on the scale. This is after me, you know, getting winded, going up and down my steps, you know, in my apartment, in my townhome. And then one day after hearing that for so long, it was just like, well, let me just check and see like how much I weigh. Mind you, I'm 5'5". Typically I weigh about like 145, 140, you know, somewhere in that range, right? So I step on the scale and I'm like 196 pounds, which I did not expect whatsoever. So this just kind of shocked me. And I was just like, I kind of took a long look at myself and I said, I got to the point where it was just unacceptable for me. I made a declaration then and there that this was unacceptable. And after that, everything else just kind of not necessarily fell into place. And it was still hard along the journey, but that mental switch that clicked for me that day, that's what made it to where I can continue on. And that's what kept me pushing. You know, it wasn't just like a motivation thing. It was like, all right, I'm holding myself to a higher standard now. And that changed me psychologically first, which brings me to my point of a lot of people fail because, and one of the reasons why you might have failed with fitness is because there wasn't that stimulus that snapped you, that change that happened mentally in order for you to say, all right, this is unacceptable. And then now you're holding yourself to a certain standard, and then your mind is going to uphold that standard, and your actions are going to fall in alignment with where your mentality is at. So every physical change that takes place, every person who was out of shape at one time or made a drastic change to their lives, the first initial change had to happen mentally before it could happen physically. Every physical change that manifests in the real time where people can see it, it has to happen first in your mind. So think about people who got rich. They probably endured poverty at one time, and then they came to a conclusion like this, I'm changing my standard for myself. I don't want to be living off, you know, ramen noodles my entire life. I don't want to live from check to check. I don't want to live, you know, where I'm checking my bills and I'm 2 months behind on the electric bill. My lights are about to cut off, eviction notices, things of that nature. So something had to trigger mentally within them. And that's why a lot of people fail, not just at fitness, but just at lasting changes, period. So today's topic is going to be about mindset, and that's what we're going to cover. So I'm gonna have a few things I'm gonna give you guys, and I'm gonna kind of expand on it a little bit, talk about it to give y'all a little bit more insight on what you can do to change the mental aspect so you can have the physical change for long term. But there always has to be a stimulus there. So I guess rule number one would be set yourself to a new standard. Now I feel like with that being said, that is gonna be the initial place. Because if you're continuously doing the same thing over and over and you don't have a standard set for yourself that you feel like what you're doing isn't in alignment with, then of course you're just gonna be like, okay, I'm 50 pounds overweight. I don't really necessarily like how I look, but I don't have a standard for myself to uphold myself to. So the unique thing about the brain is whatever you tell it, or whatever it believes, it has to align with that. So if you say being overweight is unacceptable, me being out of shape is unacceptable, you're going to put action towards that thought that you have of yourself. So that way everything is gonna be in alignment. Does that make sense? A wise man once said, people don't rise to their ambitions, they fall to their standards. Now I think that's a very powerful quote and I wanted to share that with you guys too. So write that down, keep that in your mind, set a higher standard for yourself if you do want to make lasting change and then live up to that standard. That's going to be, tip number one. Tip number two, to becoming unstoppable, you have to visualize your success. Now again, when I say all physical changes manifest first in the mind, you have to visualize the thing that you want to either become or that you want to have. So when it comes to fitness, I would say visualize the self that you see you becoming. If your goal is to get stronger, visualize yourself as a stronger individual. If your goal is to be in shape, visualize yourself with a lean, toned body, a six-pack, V-cuts, the vision that you have for yourself. Now, visualizing is a powerful tool because imagination is a very powerful tool. Everything that was once created did not exist at some point. For instance, the Wright brothers, they had a crazy idea to create an airplane, and it first started up here. People thought they were crazy. But after a while, they believed it so much and their actions had to align with the vision that they had for themselves until they created what we now know as the airplane. But first they got the bike to fly, but it all went to the same place. This is why visualization is so powerful. But you also, the second part to this, we're getting a little bit into manifestation, not trying to get all woo-woo with you guys, but it is a very important thing that I think I should cover. Manifestation occurs when you also put the second part to it, which is the emotion. So while you're thinking about how you want to look, if your goal is to be more toned and have a healthier body, now while you have this visualization of yourself, this image that you want to become, you have to put the emotion behind it too as well. And that's going to propel you even further because emotions are very powerful. So if you can master these two things together, you definitely will be unstoppable. Envision the person that you want to become and put the emotion behind the vision that you have for yourself. And me personally, I can talk for myself. This helped me out a lot just on my personal journey. This is why I'm covering it. Because if you can hold on to that vision of yourself and put that emotion behind it, and change this mind of yours, you can accomplish anything. It sounds like a crazy feat, but it's definitely doable. We have people who build all these big structures, people who invented cars, ways to talk to people on cell phones, like everything comes from a thought. And then after that, the action came afterwards. So tip number two to becoming unstoppable is visualize your success and put the emotion behind your visualization. All right, very powerful. Tip number three, to becoming unstoppable, stay resilient. All right, resilient. So in layman's terms, not giving up. To be unstoppable means that you cannot be stopped. So resilience comes from you understanding that you are capable of whatever it is that you want to accomplish. All right, so if you hold that within yourself and you just never give up, then how can you lose? If you do not stop, how will you lose? The only thing that ever stops us, truly stops us, is ourselves. Never give away your personal power to another thing outside of yourself. Because at the end of the day, you might say something happens and then this is what made you stop. But it's essentially, yes, it made you stop because you stopped yourself. So practicing resiliency and being unstoppable, bam, y'all see the shirt. No obstacle life may manifest will ever be greater than the strength we hold within. That's actually my quote. Be unstoppable. All right, last but not least, the last tip for becoming unstoppable is to embrace discipline. So now with discipline, a lot of people don't like structure. Which, I mean, I get it. You don't want to have everything mapped out that you're supposed to do and have this little thing. It seems like the concept of structure to most people makes it seem like you have a lot less freedom, when in fact it is quite the opposite. So if you have a structure for your day, you know exactly what you need to do, when you need to do it. You know, if you follow along with this structure, you'll be able to accomplish whatever goal it is you have set for yourself. So practicing this discipline is such a grand skill, and that's gonna help you in every aspect of your life, and especially fitness. Because on those days when you don't feel like doing something, you're leaving yourself up to chance. And people don't succeed with chance. If you only worked out at the times that you felt good or you felt like working out, you wouldn't be in shape. If you're only doing the thing when you feel like doing the thing, how often does the thing get done? Not very often, right? We're human beings, we have moods, you know, that change from day to day. So just imagine if you are able to hit your workouts every single day that you're supposed to hit them 3 to 5 times a week. You discipline yourself to eat right. You discipline yourself to go to sleep at the right time. You discipline yourself to get up at the right time. You are going to succeed 100% of the time because you have a disciplined structure for yourself. So if you go into the gym and you just do whatever workouts on whatever days you feel like it, what type of consistency is there gonna be? There isn't gonna be any consistency. And without consistency, there will be no results. Lack of consistency creates lack of results. I think the hardest thing for a human being to be is consistent. And I think this is also contributing to the fact that a lot of people don't have structure for their lives, much less their days. The driving force that controls your life is habits. Every day you wake up, you got the habit, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you might take your one-a-day vitamin. This is what I do in particular. I pray every morning, you know, in these habits, and I go journal. I journal for the first part of my day. I drink my coffee, you know, I give myself time to get in the right mindset. And this allows me to set the tone for the rest of my day. Practicing that discipline awards me so much freedom because I've handled the structure that I need for me to continuously be on the right path and hit those goals and evolve and grow and get 1% better each and every day. This is what's gonna make you unstoppable, because if you're always evolving, you're always growing, you're always learning something new, and you discipline yourself to do the reading when you don't wanna read. You know, you discipline yourself to exercise when you don't wanna exercise. You discipline yourself to do all of the things necessary for you to achieve the goal that you set for yourself, then you're going to be unstoppable. And you without a doubt will manifest whatever it is that you desire. And not only do that, but you'll also become the person who attracts everything that you desire. I highly suggest that all of you create some type of routine that's easy to stick to, with maybe like 2 to 4 items that you just do every morning, so that way you can set the tone for your day, and then everything else will kind of fall into alignment. Another thing that I like to do personally is set a set of tasks for my day. So I have like about 5 things that I want to accomplish on a high priority, and then I make sure I do those things each and every day. So that way I know I'm driving the needle just a little bit more forward. And then I also, with me doing that, I'm disciplining myself to be able to stay on task and be unstoppable. This marks the end of video number 5. If you guys have watched this all the way through, if you're seeing this message, highly appreciate you guys tapping in, and hopefully you got a lot of value from today's video. Again, if you have not subscribed, I highly suggest you do so, because every Saturday we will be dropping a new video for your viewing pleasure, and so you can elevate your lifestyle of fitness. It's your main man Lucky, aka Mr. Unstoppable, aka your favorite fitness lifestyle coach. And this has been video number 5. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please like the video, subscribe, and always remember, small changes equal big results. Peace and love.